Okay, so imagine this. You've got dollars, someone else has euros, different banks, right? And swapping them means dealing with all these fees, delays. It's just a hassle.
Yeah, it really is. That friction. That's pretty much what happens a lot when you try swapping crypto across different blockchains.
Exactly. But what if, like, you could just directly hand over your dollars and get their euros back? Instantly. No middlemen, no crazy bank transfers.
Well, that's kind of the core idea behind THORChain. It's designed to do exactly that, but for digital assets. Think swapping your actual Bitcoin for someone's actual Ethereum.
Directly,
Yeah.
without needing some weird wrapped version or trusting some company in the middle.
Precisely. It's like this universal translator for blockchains, letting them exchange native assets directly.
Okay, cool. So for this deep dive, we're gonna, crack open the THORChain documentation, see how this actually works under the hood.
Right. The plan is to pull out the really essential stuff, what it is, what it does for you, the listener.
Yeah, we want you to walk away with a solid grasp of THORChain, why it's a big deal in DeFi, but without getting totally lost in the super technical weeds, just the need to know.
And if you think bigger picture, I mean, a world where blockchains just talk and trade value freely,
Mhm.
that's potentially huge. That's the direction THORChain is pointing.
Definitely. But first things first, let's nail down the basics. What is THORChain, fundamentally?
Okay, so the docs call it a layer one decentralized exchange, a DKEX.
Layer one, meaning it's its own blockchain like Bitcoin or Ethereum, right?
Mhm.
Not built on another chain.
Exactly. It's an independent blockchain built specifically for, well, exchanging stuff. But the really key part is cross-chain liquidity protocol.
Ah, cross-chain. That's the magic word here, isn't it?
It really is. It means it's not just stuck trading assets within its own little world. It bridges different blockchains.
So actual Bitcoin for actual Ethereum, or I don't know, Litecoin for BNB, the real deal assets.
Yep. The native assets, no wrapping involved. That's a major differentiator.
Yeah. And the tech behind it. The docs mention some foundational stuff.
Yeah, they mentioned it's built using things like the Cosmos SDK and Comet BFT for consensus, GG20 TSS for security. Basically, it's standing on some pretty solid, well-tested technology. You don't need to know the details, just that the foundation is robust.
Got it. So strong foundations. And how does it actually do the swapping?
Through something called continuous liquidity pools, CLPs.
Okay, CLPs, like always on digital pots of money, holding different cryptos.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, they're like vaults holding pairs of assets, say Bitcoin and Rune, which is THORChain's own token.
Hmm.
And continuous just means they're always available for swaps.
So these pools are the heart of the exchange, and THORChain itself acts like an AMM, automated market maker.
Kind of, yeah, like Uniswap, if you're familiar with that.
Yeah.
Prices are set by the ratio of assets in the pool,
Right.
but the big difference is it does this across different chains.
Right. The cross-chain AMM, people sometimes call it a decentralized Binance, which kind of gives you the scale of ambition, I guess.
It does. And a big plus for users is that because it's all on-chain and automated, you get transparent and generally fair prices based directly on that pool liquidity.
Okay, makes sense. So we know what it is. What can you actually do with it? What are the main things THORChain offers, according to the docs?
Well, number one is the obvious one, swapping. Taking your native asset X on blockchain A and swapping it directly for native asset Y on blockchain B.
And again, emphasis on native, no IOUs or wrapped tokens.
Exactly. That's core functionality one. Functionality two is earning yield. You can provide liquidity to those pools.
Ah, so if I have some Bitcoin and some Rune, I can deposit them into the Bitcoin Rune pool.
Precisely. And then you earn a slice of the trading fees that people pay when they use that pool to swap. It's a way to put your assets to work.
Okay, swapping and earning. What about for developers? Is there anything for them?
Oh yeah, definitely. The docs highlight that developers can build on top of THORChain. Think wallets, trading interfaces, other DeFi services.
And they can earn from that.
They can. They mentioned affiliate fees. Developers can earn up to 10% on the swap fees or even liquidity addition fees generated through their interface. It encourages building out the ecosystem.
That's pretty smart. Incentivizing development. They point people to resources too, right? Like the main docs site.
Yep, the THORChain docs, something called Rujira for building apps, and they mentioned developer communities on Discord and such. Plenty to get started.
Cool. So it seems like there's a lot going on under the hood to make this work. The docs talk about some novel innovations, right? Things that make THORChain unique.
They do. There are a few really interesting mechanisms.
What stands out? I saw capped proof of bond. Sounds important.
It is. It relates to how validators, the computers securing the network, are chosen and incentivized. It's basically a mechanism to help keep the network decentralized and prevent, wealth concentration from dominating security. It ties security to the network's own token, rho-in.
Okay, so keeping power spread out. What about 3-day validator churning? That sounds fast.
It is. Every 3 days, some validators are rotated out. The docs say this does a few things. Prevents validators from getting entrenched or colluding, keeps the network dynamic, and actually makes upgrades smoother because there's less rigid coordination needed.
Huh, like musical chairs for network security. Clever.
Kind of, yeah. And then there are asynchronous network upgrades.
Meaning they can update the system without shutting everything down.
Essentially, yes. Validators can update their software more independently, leading to smoother, less disruptive upgrades for everyone using the network.
That's huge for usability. And the Bifrost protocol sounds mythical.
Huh. It's the piece that actually connects THORChain to all the other blockchains, and it's designed to be chain agnostic, meaning it can handle different types of chains, Bitcoin-like ones, Ethereum-like ones, others without needing bespoke bridges for every single one. It's the universal connector.
Okay, Bifrost connects the chains. Now, this one really caught my eye. The incentive pendulum. What on earth is that?
Right. It sounds complex, but the idea is pretty elegant. It automatically adjusts the rewards distribution between the validator's bonding rune and the liquidity providers supplying assets.
Adjusts rewards. Why?
To keep the network secure and efficient. The goal is to make sure there's always enough rune bonded by validators to economically secure the value of the assets sitting in the liquidity pools. If too much value is in the pools compared to the bonded rune, the pendulum swings rewards toward bonders. If bonders have way more value locked than needed, it swings rewards towards liquidity providers.
So it's like a self-balancing scale for security and liquidity incentives.
Exactly. It's trying to find that optimal economic balance automatically. Pretty neat.
Definitely neat. What else? Continuous liquidity pools came up again.
Yeah, they re-emphasize them and mentioned you can even add liquidity using just one asset sometimes, not always pairs. Plus, they use slip-based fees.
It's slip-based.
To stop price manipulation.
That's the idea. The larger your trade relative to the pool size, the slightly worse price you get this slip. The fee is based on that slip, which naturally discourages huge trades that could manipulate the price unfairly and protects liquidity providers.
Makes sense. And one more, the swap queue. What problem does that solve?
That's mainly aimed at preventing minor extractable value, or MEV. Specifically things like sandwich attacks, where a bot sees your trade coming and quickly places trades before and after yours to profit from the price movement you cause.
Yeah, those are annoying. How does the queue stop that?
It processes swaps in batches based on the pool state at the start of the batch, rather than letting miners or validators reorder them for profit within the block. It aims for fair execution for everyone.
Okay, lots of clever mechanics there. Now, who are the actual operators, these THORNodes?
Right, THORNodes are the validators. They're anonymous, could be individuals, could be groups who run the necessary hardware and software.
And they have to bond rune, right, lock it up.
Exactly. They have to stake a significant amount of rune as collateral. This bond is what gives them the right to validate transactions and earn rewards, but it also means they have skin in the game. If they act maliciously, their bonded rune can be slashed.
So it's permissionless. Anyone with enough rune and the technical setup can become one.
Yep, that's key to the decentralization aspect. No central party decides who gets to be a validator.
And that ties back into the 3-day churn, keeping it decentralized and resistant to censorship.
Precisely. The constant rotation makes it really hard for any node or group to gain lasting control or reliably block specific transactions.
What does a THORNode actually run? Is it just the THORChain software?
No, it's more involved. The docs say each THORNode actually runs a full node for THORChain itself, plus full nodes for all the external blockchains it connects to, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. They all work together in a cluster, using that TSS tech we mentioned earlier to manage the vaults securely.
Wow, okay, so that's quite a commitment technically. Is there a limit to how many there can be?
The initial target was around 100 nodes, but the architecture is designed to scale potentially much higher than that as the network grows.
All right, so let's say someone listening is thinking, okay, this sounds interesting. How could I get involved or contribute? What do the docs suggest?
Several ways. First, just participating in the community. They mentioned Discord and Telegram as places to learn, ask questions, and connect.
Standard crypto community stuff. What about building things?
Yeah, for people with dev skills, building user interfaces, wallets, dashboards, swap aggregators is encouraged. And like we said, they can earn those affiliate fees, which is a nice incentive.
Right, the 10% potential fee share. And you mentioned Ruggira earlier.
Yes, Ruggira is pointed out specifically for developers looking to build more complex apps or even smart contracts that leverage THORChain's capabilities. And again, they steer developers towards specific Discord channels for support.
So lots of avenues depending on your interest and skill level. It all seems to feed into some bigger picture goals for THORChain, right? The docs outline 3 core ones.
They do. Goal number 1 is security. And they think about it broadly. Functional security, does the tech work? Procedural security, good development practices, audits, and economic security, making sure cheating is more expensive than being honest, largely via the bonded RUNE and the incentive pendulum. They even mention things like a solvency checker that constantly monitors the vaults.
Okay, security first. Makes sense. What's number 2?
Liquidity. This is all about attracting more assets into those continuous liquidity pools. More liquidity means less slippage, better prices, and just a more robust exchange overall. So they're always working on ways to incentivize LPs.
Got it. Security, liquidity, and the third.
Volume. Simply put, they want people to actually use THORChain for swaps. This means focusing on the user experience, making swaps easy and fast, integrating with more wallets and platforms, essentially driving adoption.
Security, liquidity, volume. Seems like a solid triangle to build on. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What are the big takeaways from digging into the THORChain docs?
I think the main thing is this. THORChain is tackling that really tricky problem of swapping native assets directly between different blockchains. No wrapping, no centralized bridges is the primary mechanism.
Yeah, it's aiming to be that seamless, decentralized exchange layer for the whole crypto space. Using those CFTs, the RNU token for security, and all those innovative mechanisms like the incentive pendulum and the swap queue.
Exactly. And for you listening, hopefully this deep dive gives you that foundational picture. It's complex tech, for sure, but the goal, easy, decentralized cross-chain swaps, is pretty revolutionary if they pull it off at scale. It aims to connect these separate blockchain islands.
Absolutely. And if you do want to go deeper, definitely check out the official THORChain documentation or hop into their community channels. We've really just scratched the surface.
For sure. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. As you think about this, consider, if moving value between blockchains becomes as easy as THORChain aims to make it, how does that fundamentally change the game? Does a specific chain your assets are on even matter as much anymore?
Yeah, could it lead to a future where users don't even need to know which chain they're interacting with, just that they're swapping asset A for asset B seamlessly?
It's definitely something to ponder. What does a truly interoperable crypto ecosystem actually look and feel like? The THORChain offers one potential vision for that.